meeting of March 4th, 2026. Please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
President Cargo Reed,
Here.
Vice President Nguyen,
Here.
Trustee Honeychurch, Trustee Kara, Trustee Thurston, Trustee Young, Trustee Boyce, Student Trustee Rodriguez.
All right. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I second that motion.
It was moved by Trustee Rosemary and seconded by Vice President Jackie to approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? Abstain? The motion was passed. Comments from members of the public? All right. There are no comments from members of the public for closed items. So we will recess for closed session. fun little thing. Reconvenience, so we will reconvene the regular meeting at 7 p.m. Report of action in closed session. There was no action taken in closed session. Comments from members of the public? All right. All right. Robin Schultz, student. Okay, we're going to go ahead and hold on to this card, and we will call for Robin at a later time. So we're going to move forward. Is there any reports? All right, no reports. All right, consent agenda, action items. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered by the board to be routine and will be enacted by the board in one motion. There will be no discussion on these matters prior to the time the board votes on the motion unless members of the board, staff, or the public request specific items to be discussed and/or removed. Time will be provided before the vote for clarification, questions, and without removing an item from the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
The consent agenda is submitted.
All right, it was moved by trustee Anne Marie and seconded by trustee Rosemary to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? The consent agenda was passed. Non-consent agenda items. Now, Human Resources Director, Mr. Abate will present these items. 13A, a resignation to retire.
Thank you, President Cargo Reed, members of the board. I am going to cede my time to our large gallery today again. I know we have some very nice comments about our retiree that we'll be honoring this evening. So I am going to actually turn it over to our current CTA Union President, Aaron Farmer, who is, I believe, going to start the conversation. So.
Wonderful. Hello.
Thank you. President Butler, I'm going to speak about Jack Schouten, my colleague. Jack is the epitome of the college professor, according to my mom, who once saw him walking across the parking lot wearing a blazer with elbow patches and carrying a stack of papers and books. She said, "He's a professor." To which I replied, "Nah, that's just Jack." We all love both personae, just Jack and Professor Schouten. Jack and I were junior faculty together, hired full-time the same year, different semesters, decades ago. We'd both been teaching part-time for a while, but I didn't know him that well then. I do remember that he returned one summer sporting a ponytail at a fall convocation. Over the years, I've gotten to know Jack as a friend, as well as colleague, and I can't imagine the department without him, for many reasons. He is one of the kindest and most generous people I know. You can see it in his relationship with his daughters, as well as with his friends. He also cares deeply about his students, and his students feel the same way about him. I had one of his former students in one of my classes who would come to my office to talk about how wonderful Jack is, how he encouraged his writing. The student wrote the Solano Pulse profile of Jack and has since written a novel himself. Today, in a meeting, Jack shared a foundational element in his philosophy of teaching with my peer evaluation group, that he wants his students to feel safe, comfortable, and have fun. I love the simplicity and kindness in that attitude. The affection and admiration he inspires in his students is also evident in the many gifts they have given him over the years. Live chickens, for example, which means they really knew what he likes. I have to admit to being a little jealous when Ruth would enumerate the gifts Jack received from his students. Jack's love of teaching is matched by his passion for writing and literature, as well as film and music, on any of which topics he can and will hold forth when given a chance and a beer. I am fortunate to be among the friends who have been at his and Ruth's gatherings, where deep conversations about literature, the intellectual life, teaching, writing, extended deep into the night, and Jack played DJ, providing musical background by playing classic albums from his extensive collection, sometimes raucous, sometimes poignant to go with the mood of the moment. And of course, there is that whimsical wit and quirky sense of humor, the legendary tip jar for teachers. And his Bob Dylan whiny voice for lectures and everyday conversation are among my favorite Jack moments. The thing about Professor Jack Schouten is that I'm going to miss him terribly. Even if he's leaving me, his erstwhile junior faculty colleague, to be the most and only senior faculty member in our department. Thank you.
Good evening. Josh Scott, English faculty, academic senate president at the moment, but not for much longer. I'm here to celebrate Jack as well. It's pretty crazy to me that I've known Jack for 20 years now, or this summer. I feel like Jack, everything Aaron said, I really want to echo that he has really brought so much heart to our department. I felt very seen by Jack really early on, invited multiple times to the property on Lincoln where deep conversations happen and other shenanigans that won't get enumerated at board meetings with minutes, but it's wonderful. And I think, really what we love about Jack so much is how he's always maintained a real heart for students. For all of the years he's teaching, it's easy, I think, at a certain point to start just doing the same thing semester after semester, year after year. And Jack is always mixing it up. He's always wanting to talk about teaching. I have so many examples from my past with him of him slipping things in my mailbox, something that students, sharing student essays, sharing assignments, asking these questions, like, why are we doing it this way? Maybe we do it another way, right? Just bringing so much deep levels of curiosity. He's also he was, I believe, the first full-time English faculty member to be teaching at the prison. He's been doing that for many years. I teach there now as well, and I've had many students refer to him and what he's done in his classes, the impact he's had. I had a chance to observe him recently. Also, again, students really love him. And, it's like, we can talk about the why of it, but a lot of it is this magic of teaching, of really feeling seen by your instructor, really feeling valued, and that sense of curiosity that although he's had thousands of students at this point, he really thinks about each one, and that's really clear. And then most recently, he just has finished up a term as a senator representing liberal arts. So he's done many, many things on this campus, and it's going to be a huge loss to no longer have Jack. We're really going to miss you. Thank you.
I'm not going to do a whole thing about my husband being a great husband, but he's a great husband. He is. He's also my colleague. So I'm just going to say, I'm going to actually read a statement from another colleague who couldn't be here, but I wanted to share this T-shirt with you. It's one of the many gifts Jack's students have made for him. They all turned up with a group of them, and then I made them order a whole new round for every member of my family because I thought they were so fabulous. It's just one of the many gifts. Aaron was telling you a little bit about that. We get candy and baked goods and cups, T-shirts. One with his favorite quote from the movie Network came home. There were live chickens. He was given a bunch of baby chicks. He loves his chickens and loves raising chickens, and so a group of them bought him live chickens and brought them to school, and then they came home. He's got a hat from them that says Chicken Dad. A tracksuit came home one time. Multiple sweater vests have come home. I love all of it, though I sometimes find myself questioning him and saying, these ladies know that you're married, right? The statement I'm about to read was written by one of our colleagues who is never shy about sharing exactly what he thinks. I think it's fair to say he's a little spicy. Jack, as most of you know, tends to be more mild-mannered. But this is one of the things I love the most about my husband, his ability to make unlikely friendships, not alliances, actual friendships. It's really magical. So for the sake of brevity, because it was a long statement, I selected a few of my favorite quotes from Jack's friend Shannon Danley. 1,000 words still wouldn't be enough to capture what a true ally, a real friend, and a mentor and a genuine change maker means in a lifetime of service. Some people do a job, others do work that reshapes people. You have always been the latter. I especially want to thank you for the support you've given me personally and professionally. You didn't just offer guidance, you modeled what accountability and compassion in education truly look like. I still carry your words with me, the ones you told your class, that when students aren't doing well, it isn't their failure alone, it's our responsibility as educators to reflect, adjust, and meet them where they are. That wasn't just a teaching philosophy, it was a declaration of humanity. It reminds all of us that education isn't about power or authority, it's about responsibility, humility, and care. That lesson changed how I see my role, how I see my leadership, and how I show up for students every single day. Enjoy your retirement, my dear friend, not as an ending, but as a well-earned transition to the next chapter of life that has already made a permanent mark for so many of us. Thank you for the example you set, the doors you opened, and the lives that you changed, including mine. I'm grateful for the wisdom you gave, the opportunities you helped create, and the friendship you offered so freely. Because of you, I don't just do this work differently, I carry it differently, and that will stay with me for the rest of my life. So that was from Shannon. So now I have the honor of introducing one of Jack's students. I was first introduced to Grant when he wrote an article about Jack in the Solano Pulse. And I told him that at the time it was one of the most beautiful tributes to my husband I'd ever read. So this is Grant Bonpine is here to speak a little bit about Jack.
Thank you.
Sorry. I just got to say first, I hope that someday I can sit where you're sitting and feel as good as you look. Okay, so this is the article that I wrote about Professor Schouten, and I used to lovingly refer to him as Gandalf the English Wizard for obvious reasons. And so the name of the article is entitled Enigmatic English Wizard, the Person Behind the Professor. So, it's small for me, so bear with me. Jack Schouten is a man whose origins are unknown. His age is a mystery. And although he says he's been an English professor here at Solano College since 1987, the rumor is that he's just somehow always been here. Known as Professor Schouten to his students and Jack to his colleagues, he is loved and respected by all. Jack's unique perspective on life is reflected in his style of teaching and how he relates to his students. He considers working here at the college to be, quote, a real rewarding experience, and is grateful to have the chance to not only help young people, but people of all ages, myself, reach their academic and professional goals. One of the things Professor Schouten likes most about teaching English is getting to know the students, not as students, but as people, hearing their stories, struggles, and dreams as human beings with a voice to be heard. It is important to him for people to have fun while they learn, and he works hard to make that a reality in the classroom. This is one of his quotes. It's something that I love to do. It's not really a job to me, he states with enthusiasm. Professor Schouten attended Mariloma High School in Sacramento. As a first-year student, he said he was always pretty much a loner. I wasn't popular. You could say I was picked on. I had a slight stutter. I stammered. I wasn't particularly coordinated, he recalls. However, by the time he was a senior, he was involved in sports and had a solid circle of friends. One friend helped him gain his confidence by telling him, "Hey, you got something to say. You need to start saying it in a clear way." This helped him get over his stammering, and the two remained good friends and stayed in touch throughout the years. I was there for a year. This is him again talking. Oh, wait. Schouten attended American River College after graduating high school in 1975. He says that I was there for a year, then I took a year off. I went back for a year, then I took more time off, so I was floating in between. From 1975 to 1978, he also got a job working at Yogi Bear Hamburgers. During this time, he met a bunch of people, many who became lifelong friends that helped him gain confidence in himself and be comfortable in his own skin. At one point, I hitchhiked across the United States to New York. He says that back then traveling, that was him, of course. He says that back then traveling was easy and that he felt comfortable when he got to New York, where he stayed for a month and a half in what he refers to as a real flop house. Shelton says that the room he stayed in had a bed, a sink that was tied to the wall with a rope, a bathroom, a shower at the end of the hallway, and that was all he needed. He enjoyed hanging out in Greenwich, excuse the pronunciation here, Greenwich Village? Greenwich? That's what I thought. Okay. Hanging out in Greenwich Village and listening to Bob Dylan. But he says that even though his 20s seemed to fly by, he never lost his focus. He ended up taking a bus back home, where he got a job working at Bel Air Supermarket for the next 11 years to put himself through school at Sac State, where he earned his BA and MA before eventually earning an MFA at Arizona State. It was 14 years from graduating high school to getting a master's at Sac State. That's all. That's a long time, but I lived life. I had a good time. His quotes, obviously. Not me. His philosophy is man dies twice. Once when he physically dies, and the second time when he's forgot. Following this philosophy, he immortalizes the people he has met throughout his life, whose experiences, personalities, and memories he tries to keep alive when writing fiction or poetry. Outside the classroom, Professor Shelton loves to travel, play golf, fly fish, and enjoy spending time working on his 10 acres of land in Lincoln. But his favorite things to do are read, write, and spend time behind the desk puttering around. Some of my friends watch TV. Some of them like to work on Sudoku? You guys know what I'm saying. Okay. Right. Thank you. Right. Okay. Some do crosswords. I write. That's my pastime. He is currently working on what he calls a grasp of poems tenderly titled Making Do, after being inspired by a person whom he observed pushing a shopping cart full of everything that they own down the street, and how that relates to all of us in our own economic circumstances. He also has written several short stories that he intends to send out for submission on a regular basis, but says that his favorite genre to read and to write is poetry. His advice to young writers is keep writing. Day in and day out, never stop writing or reading. To get good, you have to practice, and part of practicing is to read and write until it becomes habit forming. Don't do it for money. Do it because you love it. Read the authors you like as well as the ones you don't like, and craft your skills. Find out what works for you and what doesn't. Stay the course. Find your voice, and just never stop. But most importantly, have fun. When it stops being fun is when it's time to quit. Professor Shelton was my English professor for my first 2 semesters here at SEC. He inspired me and encouraged me to write my first fiction novel. Shameless plug, is now available at Barnes & Nobles and other fine stores. And now, because of that support, like I just said, it's titled The Promise, which is a crime mystery. I just went past that. Anyway, I will always remember everything he taught us in his class, not only about English, but life as well. And his philosophy of just having fun will stick with me forever, because life is too short not to. Thank you, Mr. Sir.
Thank you so much.
Okay, it's my turn now, so good evening.
Good evening.
To you all, and all of you friends of Jack. I am actually here reading not from me, but from Renee Moore, that actually wrote this. So I'm just going to read exactly what she's written, all right? So, board meeting, retirement. Good evening, members of the board, superintendent president, colleagues, and friends. So it is truly an honor to stand here tonight to celebrate the retirement of Professor Jack Shouten. An extraordinary English professor, a trusted colleague, and a dear friend. For those of us at Vacaville Center, Jack has been more than a faculty member. He has been a presence, a steady, thoughtful, generous presence. As an English professor, Jack has shaped countless students through the power of language, helping them find their voice, sharpen their thinking, and see the world more clearly. What has always stood out to me is that not just he teaches, but how he teaches, with curiosity, compassion, and a deep respect for his students. Jack was never simply assigned to the Vacaville Center, he belonged there. He embraced the collaborative spirit of the center wholeheartedly. He was an active participant in our learning communities, bringing literature into conversation with other disciplines and helping create rich, wrong word to read, to write here and read, interdisciplinary experiences for our students. Those learning communities weren't just programs, they were living examples of what higher education can be when faculty genuinely work together. Jack was central to that. And then there was the Vacaville Book Club, a space where ideas flowed freely, where stories connected us, and where laughter was just as important as analysis. Jack didn't just attend, he enriched every conversation. He reminded us that reading is not a solitary act, it is a communal one. He helped create a culture where faculty and staff gathered, not just as co-workers, but as thinkers, as readers, and as friends. In thinking about Jack's career, I'm reminded of the words of T.S. Eliot. You know, this is not what I wrote. This is definitely René Moore. So here we go. We shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all of our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time. Jack has spent his career guiding students through exploration of text, of ideas, of themselves. And now as he enters this new chapter, perhaps retirement is simply another form of exploration, one that allows him to return to the passions that first drew him to literature, but with the wisdom of a lifetime of teaching. Jack's impact extends beyond syllabi and semesters. He has helped build the intellectual and relational fabric of the Vacaville Center. He showed up, he leaned in, he contributed, he listened. In academia, we often mention success in numbers, enrollments, degrees, years of service. But the true measure of a career is found in influence, in the colleagues you've supported, the students you've inspired, and the community you helped shape. Jack's influence is lasting. I'm almost done. Promise? It's almost. Jack's influence is lasting. On a personal note, this is Renee again. Jack, your friendship has meant more than you probably realize. Your insight, your humor, and your steady encouragement have made our campus stronger and my own journey richer. As you step into retirement, we know that this is not an ending, but a new chapter. One I suspect will be filled with books, ideas, and the same thoughtful engagement you've always brought to the classroom. On behalf of the Vacaville Center, she says, and Solano Community College, thank you, Jack. Thank you for your leadership, your scholarship, your collegiality, and your heart. We are better because you are here. Oh, you were here. Oh, you're still here, by the way. But anyway, congratulations on a remarkable career. And may the next chapter be your best one yet. So, from Renee Moore.
Thank you.
For me, very short and not so eloquent, Jack is family to me and my family. So we will always be with us. He might not come here, but he will come to our home. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tough act to follow, Dr. Moore.
So most of you know me, Robert DePrado, and my little segment here is what about Jack? Because they always ask, what about Bob? Jack and I first met when he came to the 700 building one morning to teach English as a replacement for Joe Hamilton, who retired, correct? Okay. Joe was always there early with a cup of coffee to help him wake up, then tried to tell Jack how to follow his lead with a canned lecture. Jack being Jack, he said, no way. Okay. How did he get to Solano Community College? You already heard that from someone else, but one little bit of information that was given was his college counselor told him to major in accounting or economics because there's no money in English, which is true. Okay. Unless you get published, then maybe. Okay. Recently, I asked him the question of what his expectations were in becoming a teacher of English at a community college. His answer was simply none. Why did he quit Solano after that? It's complicated, but he went off, did some things like ASU, MFA, whatever, was working as a teaching assistant with an emphasis on composition. He always told me personally that that's the basis of all English writing, composition. So Solano College, round 2, and I believe it was 87, that this is now a couple years later, he's a, freeway flyer. After coming back to California for family reasons, he ended up working at various community colleges, like many of us, and then found his way into a full-time, tenure-track position with the help of, I think, a young librarian whose name I won't mention. His eclectic... Am I making up a story? These are false facts? No. It's a good story. I remember this. His eclectic style of teaching changed from year to year, depending upon the students as the times they are changing, to quote Bob Dylan, one of his favorites, you've heard it twice, and other techniques that were always available. Remember that as faculty, we're supposed to be student-centered. And we can even flip the classroom, some of you might remember this, or whatever else meets the SLOs with our academic freedom. Nesting habit. Jack is an office rat. He's also a gym rat. I'll explain those too. First, the office rat. Like many English instructors, they would have office hours with students lined up so there could be the one-on-one, face-to-face tutorial education that was common back in the day when there was no AI. One of the side effects of a dedicated office hour was because of his popularity and personal teaching requirements, that he would spend a lot of time in that office and rarely venture out of the 700 building. There was a fateful day when I told him he didn't know anybody on campus. And he didn't know a lot of things. And I said, you need to do a walkabout. Okay? When I set up a bet that he didn't know where the 1000 building was, or that there was something that made the entrance unique, he found out, and I lost the bet. You know what the 1000 building is, right? Horticulture. And that's a fur piece on the other side of the 220 acres. The boys in the hood who like to exercise would find themselves in the gym and at all of the other wonderful exercise facilities that we have available here at Solano College. That's why many of us became what we call gym rats. basketball, weightlifting, track and field, swimming, which also included, wait a minute, Dennis, the famous Faculty Wonders versus the 49ers basketball game. You were there? Some of you were also here. Okay. This is part of the I'm sorry, let me follow my script. Intramural sports were also very popular back then when we had a college-wide hour twice a week and we could play sports, intramural sports, as well as have club meetings with students for the education of the whole student. The gym rat pack included Jack, Luke Cobain, who's already retired, Bruce Clark, who's already retired, Glenn Gaviglia, who's already retired, rest in peace, and myself. Now, you keep asking me, Marie, about Kathy Rosengren. Dean Kathy Rosengren and the English department occupied the building with other disciplines, which also led to faculty members outside of that department sharing ideas between our disciplines. This idea was popular across campus when it was made, when I was made an honorary English faculty member. True fault, that's true, that's Kathy, she's right down the street. That may have led to SCC exploring interdisciplinary courses and linked classes that could be taught on a themed basis between behavioral science and English. And we did that. What about tattoos? Why tattoos? And my students, psychology students, your English people, research science and all that. Okay. When I asked Jack recently, what kind of teacher are you? His response was, I am tough, but I'm fair! Exclamation point. Considering he was also teaching at the California Medical Facility, that was always a challenge, especially with the students who were lifers, and they didn't always have access to computers. In a recent faculty retreat history lesson, Jack admitted that he focuses on composition as a basis of English that students at all levels of society need. This would also include technical writing, as you've already heard, in Vacaville for those students who had to write scientific papers. Hello? Okay. He also loves literature, so he would read many novels, including the classics, popular literature, with themes from science fiction, and many of my favorite from Mysteries of Spencer in Boston and that stuff. Skill sets. Jack of all trades and master of many. Let me end this last chapter by saying he is a complicated person. If you focus on all of the crafts which he has mastered, he's a rancher, he's a chicken farmer, he's a carpenter, he's a custodian of lands, he's a music lover, he's Commodore of the Lincoln, California Yacht Club, he's a poet, and he's a published author. Thanks for being my friend forever, Jack Shouten.
Thank you. I wanted to say that when new faculty come to me and they want the secret of good teaching, I said there's two things, and Jack embodies both of these. The students need to know that you care about your subject, and the students need to know that you care about them. And he checks both of those boxes. I wanted to make sure that everyone knew that Jack has been an important part of the Solano College Biomanufacturing Baccalaureate. He teaches our upper division English class, technical writing, and he's been a major part of that for several years. But I wanted to tell a story that I took 2 classes from Jack indirectly. So was another DeClo that attended Solano Community College, my son Jackson. And my son Jackson took both of his English classes with Jack Shoughton. And so what I did is every book and every short story that was assigned, I read it, and Jackson and I discussed it. And Jackson never took my advice on what to include in his papers. He should have put that the bicycle pump in the garden in Araby is symbolic of the serpent in the Garden of Eden. But he didn't. He didn't listen to me. So what I learned about Jack was the depth of his courses and how well he interacted with the students, and also how tough a grader he was, because I would have given that a higher grade. But I want to say that here, years later, my son is now living in England, and when I went to visit, he insisted that we went to many sites of the great authors of England. We went to the Globe Theater, and we went to several sites that were made famous by Charles Dickens. And I think I can owe my son having that love of literature to a large extent to Jack Shoughton. So on behalf of my family, thank you. And again, on behalf of entire generations of college students, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? The man of the hour.
President Butler, Governing Board, thank you all for being here. Wow, guys, thank you. I really appreciate it. You know, when you're retiring, leaving, there's a moment where I wished I could have done more for Solano College. And I wished I could have been a better colleague. And, you know, you think of what you focus on. You've heard people talk about me with my students. It makes me aware that, okay, you did, but you could have done more. And I think, you know, as I retire, I really want to carry that with me, that weight in thinking about doing more. So that said, I moved to Vacaville a number of years ago, and it's been great. And at the time, I kind of referred to it as an island, this being the mainland here in Fairfield. And of course, the island I thought of was Galapagos. And so thinking about that, I thought, well, I'm retiring. What did Chuck do? And I said, yeah, I'm going to find out about Charles Darwin. I need to find out what he was doing. And it turns out, Jim, you know this, he was studying phylum Annata, which is worms. And it turns out they studied worms for 44 years. And he wrote the definitive book on worms entitled The Foundation of Vegetable Mold Through the Action of Worms with Observations of Their Habits. And I thought, what? And I said, so if I retire, it's going to be worms? And it turns out there's 53,767 worms in each acre. It turns out that you can take a bucket of sand, throw some leaves on it, throw some worms on it, and you've got soil. So worms are responsible for the terra firma that we depend upon and call Earth. Without them, we don't have that. And I'm thinking about that. But here's the disturbing point about retirement. Darwin, when he was done with meals and his family, would say, I'm going to my study. And he turned and picked up his beauties, carried them into his studies. Here's the great man, Charles Darwin. And he sets his worms down, and he plays a tin whistle, he plays the oboe, and he plays the piano, hoping for an appreciation or response from those worms. And I imagine, just take a moment and think about that image. Charles Darwin, his entire life, worms and how important they were. To bring this full circle, Worms, myself, when I was much younger and not the person I am now, and in many ways, and I won't get too into it, not a particularly nice person, I'd failed again at my attempts to integrate myself into the world, and I moved back home with my parents. I kept a room there, and my mother would get up in the morning. She was about my age at that time, my age now then. And she'd get up at 5 a.m. or start walking at 5 a.m. And I decided one morning I was going to walk with her. So I got up, and she's ready to go at 5 a.m. She's not messing around. She's been up since 4. She's got the coffee. I get myself a cup, and I'm out the door. And she's moving at a pretty steady pace. And I'm following along, the coffee's sloshing over the cups. And we're going by this housing development, and she's doing deep knee bends. And I wonder, Mom, what are you doing? And what she's doing is she's reaching down and picking up earthworms and tossing them back on the grass. And I said, what? And she says, I'm saving them. I don't want them to die. And I said, so you're picking up all these worms? And she turned to me in a very direct way. And she said, Jonathan, if I have taught you nothing else, you need to know that life is dear to all things. And I've always kind of carried that with me, you know. So thanks, Mom, and thanks, Solano College. Ah, humanity, ah, Solano. And in closing, as I consider retirement, worms? No, but maybe chickens. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone, for coming and sharing your thoughts and stories. And I would like to next ask, do I have a motion to allow Jack to retire?
I make the motion.
I'll second the motion.
All right, it was moved and seconded. And is there any discussion? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No opposed. The motion was passed, and enjoy your retirement, Jack. Thank you for your contributions to the college and everyone around you. Thank you so much. And I want to circle back to the public comment. Do I have a motion to bring the public comment? Because the student's here. Do I have a motion to bring? Do I have a motion to bring back the public comment portion because Robin Schultz is here?
I'll second it.
All right, it was moved and seconded. Hello, Robin. Oh, yes, please, before you begin. The public may comment on any items within the board's jurisdiction, even if the items are not on the agenda. During the public comment portion of the meeting. Oh, do I have a vote? Sorry. Do I have a vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, we're going to move forward. All right, during the public comment portion of the meeting, however, the law prohibits action by the board on non-agenda items, so the board will not respond to items not on the agenda. Speakers are limited to up to 3 minutes. If you wish to speak to a particular item on the current board agenda, you can share comments during public comment, or you can wait and share comments at the time the board takes up the agenda item. Thank you and welcome. It's good to see you.
Thank you. Good evening. I would like to talk about the lack of tutors in the tutoring center, especially for CIS 50 and accounting 2. I'm struggling with my computer classes for a few reasons. One, the class is online, and online classes are hard for me, and the tutoring center doesn't have tutors for that class, and the teacher is a whole nother issue. I need this class for my degree, and I graduate in the fall of 2026, so time is limited for me. Also, all last semester when I was in Accounting 1, I would go weekly to the tutoring center asking if they had any tutors, only to be told, no, we are working on it. Now I'm in Accounting 2 and there's still no tutors. I still go and ask, but I get a no every time I go. I would love to get some answers or what else I could do to get help with tutors I need for this semester as well for the next semester. I understand they're working on hiring somebody for the next semester for in-person classes for CS classes and such, but that doesn't help me now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Robin, for bringing that to our attention. Superintendent President. Let's go back. Thank you, Robin. All right, we're going to move on to Finance and Administration. VP Wheat will present these items. Hello, VP Wheat.
Yes, thank you, President Cargo-Reed, members of the board. The first item is item B, amendment number 1 for Optima inspections for building 1600. As you may recall, we've had other change orders for this building that includes rerouting our power and fiber pathways, changes to our data and low voltage locations, additional framing and drywall for the new fire ratings. All these come with additional inspections that need to be done in order to pass DSA. This amendment is for those additional inspection services, so we're asking for your approval.
Do we have a motion to approve 13B? So.
I'll make the motion.
All right, it was moved by Trustee Honeychurch and seconded by Trustee Rosemary to approve the amendment number 1 for Optima Inspections, Inc. for Building 1600 Modernization Project. Is there any discussion? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? Abstain? The motion was passed. All right, moving on to 13C.
Yes, item 13C is a change order for Matrix HD Incorporated for Building 300 and 1200 hydraulic repairs, our vault repairs. This has been a larger project than I think we anticipated in the beginning. This change order is in order for us to make some of the piping sizes larger. And when we did that, that means that the central vault that they go in needs to be kind of recalibrated for those larger pipes. We're also removing some of the old transit hydronic piping to put in the new piping. And because of those things, we're asking for your approval on this change order.
All right. Do we have a motion to approve?
I second that motion.
All right, it was moved by Trustee Emery and seconded by Vice President Jackie to approve the change order 13C. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, abstain. The motion was passed. Is there any discussion on this item? I'm going backwards. Is there any questions? All right, we're moving over. The motion was passed. Student Services, VP Neely will present these items. Hello. Oh, we're moving forward, yes. 13D to 2026 Women's History Month.
Yes, thank you very much, President Cargo-Reed. I move to amend the resolution by inserting 2 whereas clauses following the paragraph beginning whereas Solano County has continued this legacy.
Sorry, all of the trustees have a copy of the addition that was requested so that you have it in front of you to read as Trustee Nguyen shares. Sorry, Trustee Nguyen.
No problem. Would you like me to begin again or?
Okay.
Thank you so much there, President Butler. I move to amend the resolution by inserting 2 whereas clauses following the paragraph beginning whereas Solano County has continued this legacy of women trailblazers. The proposed amendments to resolution number 25-26-14. Would you like me to read that or should I? So the 2 clauses are whereas the Solano Commission for Women and Girls, founded in 2018, is comprised of a diverse membership with representatives appointed by each of the 7 cities, each member of the Board of Supervisors and the Solano County Office of Education. Its mission is to improve the economic status, health, and social welfare, and overall quality of life for women and girls in Solano County. And whereas among the accomplishments of the Solano Commission for Women and Girls are the status report on women and girls in Solano County, a gala honoring 5 outstanding Solano County women, the Women in Money Conference, the upcoming Girls on the Rise seminar presented by the Solano Superior Court and the Solano County Bar Association, and the 5th annual Black Maternal and Infant Birth Justice Resource Fair in April, all events contributing to the ability for women and girls to thrive in our community.
Thank you so much for reading that. All right. All right, do I have a second? All right, it was moved and seconded, and I am going to ask that VP Neely read the resolution for us. The
Thank you.
revised resolution.
Thank you. Good evening, members of the board and President Cargo Reed. It's my pleasure. I will take a big breath because there's some content here. Whereas throughout U.S. history, women and women-identifying individuals of diverse backgrounds, abilities, gender expressions, and lived experiences have made significant contributions to the cultural, political, economic, and social landscape of our nation despite systemic barriers. And whereas Women's History Month originated in 1978 as a grassroots initiative by the Education Task Force of the Sonoma County Commission on the Status of Women in Santa Rosa, California, who organized the first Women's History Week celebration aligned with International Women's Day on March 8th, demonstrating the power of a local advocacy to create national change. And whereas through the dedicated efforts of women's groups and historians led by the National Women's History Project, now the National Women's History Alliance, President Jimmy Carter issued the first presidential proclamation in February 1980 declaring the week of March 8th as National Women's History Week. And whereas the women's rights movement in the United States has evolved through crucial milestones, including the 1848 Seneca Falls Convention, the passage of the 19th Amendment in 1920, granting women suffrage, the civil rights movement of the 1960s, the founding of the National Organization for Women in 1966, and the ongoing struggle for gender equity that continues today. And whereas we acknowledge the disproportionate challenges faced by women of color, Indigenous women, women with disabilities, immigrant women, and LGBTQ+ and transgender women who continue to navigate compounded barriers of discrimination. And whereas Solano County's history was shaped by pioneering women, including Nancy Geary, a formerly enslaved woman who settled in Dixon in 1868 and became a respected midwife, nurse, and store owner, Luzina Stanley Wilson, who arrived around 1851 and documented early life near Puta Creek, Mary J. Martin Hall, a Fairfield pioneer of 1849 who lived in the mining camps and supported her family by selling apple pies during the gold rush, and Annie Lizzie Gill, who established a life and orchard in early Vallejo, all of whom contributed to the foundation and development of our communities through their courage and determination. And whereas Solano County has continued this legacy of women trailblazers, including Assemblymember Lori D. Wilson, who made history as the first Black woman elected to represent the 11th District in April 2022, and previously served as the first Black female mayor in Solano County's entire history while serving Suisun City. Lizette Estrella Henderson, who served as the County Superintendent of Schools for Solano County for almost 10 years, working to advance educational equity throughout the region. Wanda Williams, who is also a Solano College alum, who became the first African-American woman to serve on the Solano County Board of Supervisors, and Judge Ramona Garrett, who served as a Solano County judge for more than 23 years on the municipal court and then on the Superior Court as the county's first woman judge and the first African-American judge to sit on those courts, all of whom have broken barriers and paved the way for future generations of women leaders in our community. And whereas Women's History Month provides an opportunity to honor the leadership, vision, and resilience of women whose work advances a more just, equitable, and sustainable world, and whereas this year's theme, Leading the Change, Women Shaping a Sustainable Future, recognizes women who are at the forefront of climate advocacy, scientific innovation, public health, education, social entrepreneurship, and community organizing, addressing the most pressing environmental and social challenges of our time. And whereas women, particularly women of color, indigenous women, immigrant women, and women from historically marginalized communities have long led movements for environmental justice, food security, labor rights, educational access, and economic empowerment, often without formal recognition. And whereas despite significant progress, women, particularly women of color, continue to face disparities in pay, in representation, in leadership, access to capital, and disproportionate exposure to environmental harms, be it resolved that the Solano Community College District Governing Board proclaims March 2026 as Women's History Month, and encourages all departments, faculty, staff, and students to participate in related educational programs and activities. And be it further resolved that the district reaffirms its commitment to advancing gender equity, supporting inclusive leadership, and fostering a sustainable future shaped by the voices and contributions of women. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you and thank you, Vice President Jackie, for your amendment. Is there any discussion? All right.
May I just say a few words? Thank you so much, President Parker. Oh, yeah, we can do it. Okay, I apologize.
So
Thank you.
first we do roll call, then we got the discussion.
Yes.
All right, we're doing things different tonight.
Trustee Thurston. Trustee Young. VP Wynn.
Aye.
Trustee Kara. President Cargo Reed.
Aye.
Trustee Voice is absent. Student Trustee Rodriguez. Trustee Honeychurch.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, the resolution. Yes.
Yes, I just wanted to say thank you so much for allowing me to include the amendments. Thank you so much for also reading. That was quite a long resolution, but I think it's important. I also serve on the Solano Commission for Women and Girls. I was appointed by Supervisor Mitch Mashburn back in 2021, so I've been serving for the past 5 years now, and I was just recently reappointed last fall. This coming April, we're going to be doing our 5th annual resource fair, where it's going to be for Black maternal health. And I think it's just important because this is our 5th anniversary. The commission has been incorporated in 2018, and we were convened to basically become an advisory board for the Solano County Board of Supervisors, and we continue to do work to uplift the lives of women and girls here in Solano County. So for that, when I wear my commissioner's hat, I'm very proud of the work that we do. So I really do appreciate the fact that we included in the resolution today about the Solano Commission for Women and Girls. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Do you have no information items? All right. So, all right, announcements.
President Cargo Reed, I do have an announcement that I'd like to share with the board.
Sure.
This week, we are putting sand down in our sand volleyball courts, and our goal is to have our first sand volleyball game on March 27th. So we're super excited that that project is coming to fruition, and we're going to be able to see our students out there playing. We are going to be scheduling an event, kind of like a ribbon cutting, for our sand volleyball courts, and we'll make sure that you're all invited to that event. We don't want to do it on their first home game. We're going to wait until they're a little bit more settled before we do that. But I just wanted to let you know that we're there.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing. That's exciting. So I have March 27th down. I do have information to share. Today, I wanted to share out that there is a march to save our children. And what it is on March 7th at the community, as the community gathers in hope to unity and stand for the protection of children and the ending of child exploitation. That's going to be at CVS parking lot, 300 Travis Boulevard, Fairfield, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. March 7th. And it's come to my attention that there was 21 rescues in Solano County. So tonight I wear blue and bring awareness that we do have human trafficking going on, especially of minors. And all human trafficking is despicable. It's one of the most heinous crimes. So I wear blue tonight to bring attention to it and to march to save our children. And again, that's going to be on March 7th in Fairfield. And I guess this is going on nationally. So I just wanted to share that out. I also will see you all on Saturday at our crab feed. Moving into something more on a more positive note, I can't wait to see everyone, and that's going to be at 5 p.m. Correct? Unless anything's changed. All right. Nope, it's still at 5 p.m. And that's all I wanted to share is that those two things. Thank you. For the training. Okay.
On one announcement, our student government, associated students and the Office of Student Development have come together to host TEDx Solano Community College on March 13th. The theme, Leading Without Permission. It is in celebration of Women's History Month, and it will be from noon to 3 p.m. here on campus in the theater. And just recognizing the students for the huge accomplishment. Angelica Delican, is that her last name? Yes, and so she's the vice president of our student government, and she's worked closely with our director of student development to bring this to campus, and we're really excited to host women who are nationally recognized actually coming here to speak at Solano Community College.
Wonderful. Yes, thank you so much for the reminders. We can't wait to go. Thank you so much, Superintendent President. Having no more items,
I'm so sorry, I have one more thing. The Solano County School Boards Association, we are going to be holding a candidates forum for the superintendent of instruction. And so it looks like we're going to be holding that on Monday, April 20th. More information to come, but we are looking, so far it appears that we have 2 candidates who have secured to attend the candidates forum. I would like to share that as a report since I sit on the board.
Wonderful news. All right. Anyone else? I'm sorry. All right. Having no more items, do I have a motion to adjourn? All right. It was moved by Trustee Anne-Marie and seconded by Trustee Rosemary Thurston to adjourn the meeting. There'll be no further business to come before the board. The meeting will be adjourned at 8:02 p.m. Thank you, everyone. You have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.